I just got myself a spacer laser. Yeehaw! Bow wow wow. Bark bark bark. Bowie wowie bark bark. Bark bark bark. Bark bark bark. Get over here! Boom! One shot. Yeah, that was awesome. Bum ba 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 da ba da ba 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 da ba da ba da 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 ba da 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 ba 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 da ba 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 da ba da ba. I'm gonna get him. Hello? Wow! Ding 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 ding. Hello? I am so sorry. I try to be here on time, and then sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Oh
Hiya,
my gosh.
cupcakes.
How is everybody? How's everybody? I think in Australia they say, how are you going? What? Yeah? I thought you wanted to. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of people here that I have to say, is my music playing? Can you guys hear music? Is it just really quiet? Oh, it is playing. Okay, it's just really quiet. Okay. We've got Grandpa Shinespark. We have D. Scheidler. We have Jordachi, Trekkie, Dad Bods, Alcondros. And we have Alex. Thank you so much for the lurk. I appreciate that. We've got KM and Jordachi. Thank you so much for the gift sub to Femi. I appreciate that so much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. We've got Jay. We have Koala. We've got Femi. Oh my gosh, Femi, how are you? We've got Chain. We've got Silent Techno. And we've got... Oh, I already said Femi. How's it going? You guys. My life has changed a lot in the last 4 days. And I don't want this to be a sad stream. I don't want this to be a sad stream. There were a lot of tears that were shed yesterday, and there will be so many more tears where that comes from. Yesterday was a really emotionally draining day. Hey, John Steed! It is so good to see all of you guys. It's been weird because every day I've been like, yeah, well, maybe, you know, like maybe because streaming brings me joy because I get to play games and I get to check out from everything for a little bit and spend time with really cool people, but it just hasn't been realistic over the last couple days, which is fine. And my siblings are out with Charlotte at the moment, but I wanted to just kind of give everybody kind of an update. Today's stream will probably be kind of, like we'll kind of see. Like I'm up for it, but I know my siblings are also kind of tired and whatnot. But I just kind of wanted to kind of explain for those of you that aren't on my Discord or you know, not that I gave tons of details on my Discord either, but you know, my mom was on a ventilator for 7 days, and the cutoff time for a ventilator is hey, it's Collector, how are you? I know we're names on a screen, but we're here for you. I appreciate that, Alcondros. I really do. And I've been thinking about you guys a lot because you really are a huge part of my life. And it's kind of funny. Like I kind of think about, you know, I think over the last couple days, I'm like, why would I be thinking about streaming right now? But it's more than that. It's a huge part of my life. It's Michael, how are you? I have returned. It's kind of interesting. You know, you guys know that I'm a religious person, but, you know, I believe that things kind of happen for reasons and things kind of play out in the way they're supposed to play out. But my mom was on a ventilator for 7 days, and my mom suffered from Parkinson's, and she suffered from depression, and she suffered from chronic pain, and her chronic pain was getting incrementally worse as time went on. Parkinson's complicated that. And she was in a lot of pain all the time. And I cannot remember very well what it was like to be able to talk to my mom without the first words out of her mouth being like, well, I'm in a lot of pain. That was pretty much what she said all the time, every time we talked. And it got to a point where I didn't really ask her how she was doing because I knew how she was doing. She was always in pain. She lived with it 24/7. Now, my mom definitely had made some choices in her life that probably made the pain a little worse. Like she was really bad at doing physical therapy after she had any procedures done. Oh, Femi's like, it's vacation time. Woo! I need a vacation. After all this, I'm definitely gonna need a vacation. Genuinely hope you and your siblings are hanging in today. So glad we're all together. Let me tell you, having my siblings here has been, I couldn't have done this without them here. I could not have done this by myself. And when they got here, I felt this huge weight lift off my shoulders because it was almost like taking a breath without realizing I'd been holding my breath. The internet can be very cold and impersonal, but can also somehow be very personal and connecting place for humans. Glad we can be on the more personal end of the spectrum. I am also very, very grateful for that, Jordachi. So yesterday when we got to the hospital, she'd been on a ventilator for 7 days. Oh, I need to stop that because we're definitely not having a watch party this weekend simply because my siblings are here and well, I'll get to that. I'm trying to like remember, I'm trying to shut down all the things that I'm supposed to be, I don't even, timed actions. That's what it is. There's a DJ. Hi, good to see you. How are you? So there's kind of a cutoff when you're on a ventilator, because it's not good for your throat. And so at 7 to 10 days, they go, okay, well, what are we going to do? Because she can't breathe on her own. So what are we going to do? And then at 14 days, that's the cutoff where they're like, we have to do a tracheotomy. And that's where they cut a hole here, and then they put the tube here instead of it going down your throat. That was out of the question. My mom had a directive, a physician's directive, and that was out of the question. Any procedure, out of the question. My mom was miserable. And I, it kind of was. Like, we didn't cry when we all saw each other because we were, like, Joe got in earlier than Katie did, and we had to go to the bank and figure out all my mom's finances in that way and all that stuff. And that was kind of a nightmare, but we kind of sort of got that taken care of. And there wasn't a lot of time for that. But there have been some very, very personal, emotional healing moments between the three of us. And I'm really grateful I'm close enough to my siblings to be able to have that, because I know not everybody does have that. And I'm really sorry for people who don't have that. I really hope that you have somebody you can have that with, whether it's your siblings or not. I hope you have a group of people. And KM just blew my mind. Oh, KM, thank you so much. I don't even know what to say. That is so kind of you. Thanks, KM. That means so much. Wow. And I totally lost track of my train of thought because of KM's super kindness. Thank you so much. That just means so much. So all in all, we knew that my mom didn't want to come back. Ultimately, like, we knew that my mom, for the first time in years, was actually comfortable. She was asleep, she was out, she was comfortable. And we knew that every time they kind of woke her up and tried to kind of take her off of the breathing machine, she put up a fight. And we were talking to each other and we're just like, I think she's going, heck no, I don't want to go back. Are you kidding? That her body was a prison, basically, at the end of her life. The one thing that has been more painful than anything else, if I'm just going to be honest, is that I have my mom's phone, I have her laptop, I have, a bunch of her stuff. And I was going through her phone because I was thinking, I wonder what the last photo she had of my girls is. And I came across some videos of her before she went to the ER. And I shouldn't have even watched one, but I did. It was only like 8 seconds long or 18 seconds long, but the other one was like 4 minutes long. And that was when the dam broke for me. And I just completely lost it because my mom she was in agony and she was so sad and she was so alone and she was just in her room, just on her bed. And she was I shouldn't have watched it. I should have known, but whatever, it is what it is. And so I cried and cried for like 45 minutes. And I just hated the idea of thinking of my mom alone in her room and nobody able to do anything because it was, who knows what time it was. And her doctors weren't giving her the meds she needed or they weren't answering her when she needed them to or whatever. So that was really awful. And so they told us they wanted to do something called a TEE or something. It was like a transesophageal echogram or something, where they would drop a camera down her throat and look behind her heart because they couldn't find the source of her fevers, her constant fevers, because the other infections were under control, but she was still getting these fevers. And they were like, we don't know where the fevers are coming from. And so I got a call. I don't know if she did, because she didn't even seem really aware she was recording. It was very all over the place because she was shaky and she was in a lot of pain and she was like, her teeth were chattering and she was miserable. And it was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen in my life. And I wish I hadn't watched it, but I knew kind of when I saw it. I remember being like, I'll bet I know what this is. And I watched it anyway. I felt like I had to for some reason. I'm not really sure why. She wasn't even speaking. She was just in a lot of pain. It was awful.
Hey, I think you're really
Bosnian!
Cool.
Thank you so much for following my channel. It's kind of a heartbreaking moment, but it's okay. We'll get to the fun stuff. Yesterday, 2 days ago, they were like, we want to do this procedure. And I was like, okay. But then later on that night, we got a call from the nurse and the nurse said, okay, here are all the risks involved with that. And suddenly I was like, I don't think mom wants this. I don't think she does. And we had to have that conversation where my mom's directive was very plain. But we still had to make the decision to make that directive happen. So we still had to make that hard decision. And I was like, okay, so like, what happens if she does pull out of this? Let's say they do this procedure, everything goes fine. They find that there's an infection in her heart. They get that taken care of, and mom pulls out of this. Then what? She has rehab for how long? Like, is she ever going to walk again? Like, is she even there? Like, we don't even know. How long was she out of oxygen before they intubated her? We have no idea. So we had to have this really hard conversation where we finally decided it was time to let her go. So yesterday we went to the hospital. And if I don't get emotional now, it's because I'm probably empty because I cried so much yesterday. So we went and talked to them about inpatient hospice, and we put her on comfort care. And so basically we were just like, we want to stop all aggressive treatments. We don't want to have any more, no more tube, no more ventilator, no more anything. We want her to just be comfortable. And we said our goodbyes. We chose not to be there when they took the tube out because we didn't know how that was going to happen. Then we said our goodbyes, and we called her sister and her friend and her, my cousins. And we held the phone up and had them say their goodbyes. And then I called Charlotte, and Charlotte told her she loved her. And we said our goodbyes, and then we left. And the crazy thing is, she is still hanging on. I thought for sure once they took that vent out, she would be gone, but she's still hanging on for whatever reason. But her oxygen is lowering, and my stepmom is a retired hospice nurse, and so she kind of knows, the signs, and so. But anyway, the most important thing is she's comfortable. She's not in pain anymore. And she will never be in pain again. And that was the most important thing to us. And then when we left, the nurse gave me this, which is my mom's heartbeat. She gave one to each of us. And that was really sweet. So I'm going to turn that into a bracelet. But, I feel like I said goodbye to my mom a long time ago because the mom who moved in with me and spent lockdown with me and moved around the corner from me and gave me so many problems is not the same person who raised me. So I feel like I've kind of been emotionally distancing and kind of like, saying goodbye for a long time. But yesterday was really hard. But I think for me, it was the hardest because I just kept thinking of that video and what led up to her being in the hospital. And I just hated the idea of her being alone in her room in so much pain and unable to do anything and unable to get help. And I mean, she was in an assisted living facility, so it's not like they just had Percocet to be like, oh, you're in pain, here, have a Percocet. It was, everything was all prescribed. Oh, hi, Parvis. So everybody is sorry, and I appreciate that a lot. But the reality is we were able to give my mom a huge gift in letting her go. Because she was literally living in a prison. Her body didn't really work anymore. She was so frustrated by the things that she wanted to do but couldn't do. And we were able to give that to her, as painful as it was. So technically she's still around, but probably not for long. I haven't gotten that call yet, but anyway. So it's been really crazy. I asked her place how, where her rent was. And they said, well, she's technically paid up until August. So once the room is empty, the rent will stop. And actually, you'll get a refund. And I was like, we are spending all weekend cleaning out mom's apartment because that place we do not owe them a single dollar more than what than what we have to. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't really feel like they did a great job at the end of my mom's situation because I was never notified she went into the hospital twice. And then she was in such bad shape and yet nobody told me. Maybe they just assumed we knew. I don't know. My mom could barely text by that point. She was just speaking her text, but her voice was, her mouth, her words were slurred and she was confused because the infections were starting to really have a effect on her. And she was just in so much pain, she couldn't even function. And I believe, Land Rider, hi! I hope she does too. She definitely looked at peace when we left, she was out, which was great. But my stepmom actually said, oh, did she wake up for you guys? And I was like, gosh, no, I didn't want her to wake up. Are you kidding? That would have been worse to have her eyes open and have her not be able to say anything to me. And I can't even imagine waking up with all those tubes. Anyway, so So I don't feel like her facility did that great of a job. But then again, my mom complained about pain literally all the time. And so, but this time was different. I watched that video. This time was different. But I'm convinced, I mean, not that we know because my mom will never be able to tell us, but I am convinced the pain in her back she felt was from her infections, either the pneumonia or the kidney infection that was shooting up her back. But it was different this time around. And I'm just crazy. I just cannot believe that nobody called me or nobody said anything. And when I saw her, the last time I saw her, I got to bring her sushi, which she loved. And I actually brought her some medicine. I wasn't supposed to do that, but I was like, of course I'm going to bring you some medicine. It was like Tylenol. And, but she was like, it's the only thing that helps. And and they can't give me anything else. And I can't get a hold of my doctor till tomorrow. And I was like, yes, I will bring you some. That was technically against the facility's like rules. But I was like, screw that. My mom is in pain. But when I saw her, she was having trouble breathing, but she told me it was because the pain was so bad in her back. She didn't want to take too deep of breaths because it hurt. But of course, now knowing what I know, I'm like, she was suffocating. Like her lungs were filled with fluid. How did they not know this? But you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for blame. I'm not looking to point fingers at anybody. I know, like Jordachi said, unfortunately, assisted living facilities a lot of times lack accountability and they have protocols in place, but it's just, it's hard to find good workers that want to be there, that are working there because they want to be there and not just because it's a job. Thank you, Jay. I would read all that out, but I'm just gonna cry. After seeing that video, I knew we'd made the right decision. And it's really hard to say goodbye and to let her go, but I know she's a lot happier, or she will be a lot happier. But she's happy right now. She's not in pain. She's just sleeping. So, that's where we stand. And it's been crazy. And so this coming weekend, we are going to clean out my mom's apartment, and that's going to be really hard. But it's okay. It has to happen, and I want to get that refund if I can, because I don't feel like we owe them anything. They were an okay place for my mom to live, but they were definitely not the best. But we were limited on what she could afford. So unfortunately, that's the biggest problem, is the care is so expensive, And I'll admit, I didn't spend a whole lot of time like trying to figure out how to make things better over there, because I was wrapped up in my own stuff. And it was really hard to be like, oh, well, I'll come down there and talk to the director and be like, why does your food suck so bad? Each of your residents pays like $4,000 to live here a month. But I don't know how much it costs, to run a place like that. I imagine it's really expensive, but if you can't afford to have good food for your residents, and if you can't afford to pay your employees very well, then you probably shouldn't be in business, because that's other people's loved ones that you're taking care of. So anyway, whatever the case, I fully believe my mom was actually given a gift to be able, I mean, as painful as it is to think about her being in so much pain before that, she was otherwise healthy up until that point, and I was worried she was just going to live out for years and years dealing with this chronic pain. And so I'm really glad that she is, I'm really glad that she'll be at peace, and she'll be with her sister who passed away years ago, like when she was really young. She'll be with her parents. She'll be with my dog, May, lots of cool people. She wants to be cremated, so we've got to get all that, kind of situated. And then I think we will probably try to have some sort of memorial out in Boston, because that's where we feel like she needs to be laid to rest, is with my aunt and my grandparent, or her parents and all that. So that is like way down the line. But anyway, so I don't want this to be sad anymore. So that's kind of that's the update. But I felt it was important to stream, and I felt it was important to tell everybody, and I felt it was important to kind of chronicle this, kind of, sort of. Christy! Thank you so much, Christy. I appreciate that a lot. I actually feel the same way, Landwriter. I feel like I would probably be, well, I can see it being a really rewarding job, but I can also see it being really heavy on the heart because, yeah, you have to be able to, like, people come into your life and then you say goodbye. But yeah, my siblings being here has made all the difference in the world. And we were wrecks yesterday and it was really hard. Each one of us took some time to be by her side alone and say whatever we wanted to say. And my mom and I had a really complicated relationship over the last couple years due to a lot of my mom's own choices and probably some of my own choices. And I always felt really guilty for that, but none of it matters now because I believe in the afterlife and I believe that there is life after this life and that our perspective changes and we understand things differently and none of that really matters because we did our very, very best. And if there's anything my mom did really well, it was serving other people. She had a really big heart and she helped anyone. Didn't matter who it was. She helped anybody. I think she was too trusting at times. So anyway, that's the deal. Yeah, it's kind of what we had to say. We said, it's okay. You can go. We know that that's what you want. So, going to her apartment tonight is going to suck, but we have a lot of work to do. I want that refund. I am slightly irritated with her facility, but at the same time, everything is said and done now, and I don't feel like there's really any point in me going in and having a conversation being like, just so you know. I don't know. I don't think that will do any good, but anyway. Mr. Rogers is up there. That's true. Mr. Rogers is up there. So, that's my story. And it's been a crazy couple of days. But, last comment for me on this. One of the songs I sang in a state choir was called No Time to Tarry or something like that. The words hit me hard when I paid attention to them. No time to tarry here. No time to wait for you. No time to tarry here, for I'm on my journey home. It's actually interesting you say that because my mom, when she first moved here, like 5 years ago or whatever, she showed me a song by Alison Krauss called A Living Prayer. And she said, this is the song I want played at my funeral. And we listened to it together and she completely had an emotional breakdown. And she was like, this is my life. And it was, I don't know, something about like walking in darkness and, holding his hand, meaning Christ's hand or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. And so I don't know, in an effort to torture myself, I guess I listened to it yesterday while I was making breakfast and just sobbing in the kitchen. I don't know. We do weird things when we're grieving. But, you and your siblings being close is a testament. Who's Terry? Is a testament to her raising you, I'm sure. I don't have that with my siblings and all. That's a real gift. And I'm aware a lot of people don't have that. And I hope you have that with somebody. I don't know who that is, but I hope you have that with somebody. It doesn't have to be blood related. Absolutely not. Okay, so while my siblings have been here, I just yeah, she helped Christy a lot. She was a big part of Christy's life when she was younger. She was kind of Christy's like surrogate mom, kind of. She did that for a lot of people. We always kind of had a couple of friends out of our friend group that came from really sad, kind of broken homes, and my mom was kind of always like a surrogate mom. Anyway, gosh, and Christy just lost her dog too, so this is like a double whammy. I'm so sorry. So moving on from all this sadness, my siblings are here and we want to play some Gang Beasts because you guys have to see this game. I want to play Gang Beasts. Hold on, somebody's calling me. Give me a second. I will be right back. 10 minutes ago. I didn't think it would hurt so much. We were gonna play Gang Beasts and have some good times together. I have to go tell them. Oh, it's Homestar! It's okay. She's not in pain anymore. And that's ultimately what is the most important. I think, given the situation, I think I should sign off because my siblings are gonna be really... We're planning on cleaning out my mom's apartment over the weekend. So I don't know. But you know what? My siblings are gonna be here for another, like, week, I think. My siblings are the coolest people, you guys. They seriously are. They're the coolest people. So I think I'm gonna make an executive decision. I'm gonna sign off. I have to go tell my siblings. And it's probably good it happened now because Auden is sleeping, Charlotte's doing her screen time and everything. But I also just hope you guys know how much your patience and kindness and understanding means. This is crazy. I've never experienced anything quite this, like, huge. But I just appreciate you guys tuning in, and that's my story. I definitely meant to have some good game time today because you guys, seriously, you're gonna die when you see this game. It's so funny. But today's not that day. I'm glad I got to update everybody and say hi to everybody because I know it's been a couple days since I've seen everyone, but I appreciate everybody's kindness, and I have learned not to make plans and say, like, okay, well, we're planning on streaming tomorrow or whatever. I can't make plans right now. We just kind of have to see the way things happen and the way things go. So if you are on my Discord, you do get updates there, but obviously you can also turn on updates on Twitch or whatever, or like notifications on Twitch. So when we do go live, but my guess is next week will be the grief will be a little less, and things will be a little calmer. I hadn't gotten that phone call before I went live, and as I sat down, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, that could happen like right now, and it did. And you know what? I think that's for the best. So don't ever forget how much you matter and how important you are. to me and to those around you. I hope you have someone in your life that can support you through your hard times, because we all need that. I love you guys, and yeah, I'll be back sometime. Maybe we can hang out when we're ready. Today is not that day. I was gonna make today that day, but now everything's changed. So, you guys are wonderful people. Remember, choose kindness, and don't ever miss out on the chance to tell those you care about you love them, because you never know when it'll be the last time. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you guys next time. I love you all. Bye, everybody.